Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
I drink champagne with kings and queens. The politicians praised my name. But those were someone else's dreams, the pitfalls of the man I became.
Welcome everyone to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting into the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I am your host, Lou Diamond. Oh boy. We have a special dynamic duo today. They've been married over 30 times. And I mean this, not to anyone else, just to each other. They have had over 30 weddings within the span of time that they've been together. They're entrepreneurs, best-selling authors, and podcasters, where they are focused on restoring the flow of love into your marriage. They lead workshops, group sessions, and even pickleball marriage retreats for growth-minded couples that want to go from good to great in their marriages. Thrive Loud listeners, I couldn't be happier today to bring you the hosts of the Marriage of Greatness podcasts, Evan and Susan Money. Evan and Susan, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Hello.
Excited to be among the legends, Lou, and just honored to be part of TLP. And I know that it's coming soon. If not, it may have already happened, but I know that Cornell is going to be commemorating multiple buildings in your name because of your success. So excited to be here.
Well, we are excited to be here. For those who hear that voice, Evan has been a guest on Thrive Loud a long, long time ago. That's actually how we met. And he and I then went into a podcast world. And I learned about Evan's story and Susan's story. And the two of them together, this is just like, if you could put something in a bottle and want to know how you could sell it, I think they're actually figuring that out. Susan, I want to start with this. I want to go way back. When did you first meet Mr. Evan Money?
That is way back. I met him. In high school, my senior year, I was dating a guy, and he was like surfer acquaintances with Evan. And so I went on a surf trip with them one time, a bunch of people. And then for my senior prom, I ended up hooking Evan up with a girlfriend of mine, and we double dated to my senior prom, but not together.
Huh.
So I actually have a picture of me standing there next to Evan and my date in his pink cummerbund and bow tie. So that's where it all began. And then we didn't see each other for like 5 years, and then happened to run to each other in a supermarket of all things. And long story short, I ended up asking him out, and we'll just go from there.
So, and from there, to be clear, led to getting married. And
Yeah.
There was getting married, and everyone knows how wonderful the honeymoon can be. And everyone knows how marriage can be great. The real question I have for the two of you is, at what point did it come to fruition or ideation that basically said, you know what, we should get married again and then again? When did that happen? They said, we're not just going to be married, we're going to continue to get married. When did that idea? Evan, maybe you know the idea, and then Susan can opine.
Yes.
Well, my bride actually is responsible for the idea, go figure, but then I kind of took it over, so I'll let her share the moment of enlightenment, and then I'll tell you how I scrambled. Because it's a very, it's a story like no other, but I'll let my bride share, like, what were you thinking when...
Well, we were going to a seminar, and we're learning about how to dream big, so to say. And the people who were on stage mentioned how they renewed their vows every year. And I'm like, oh, I love that. And I'm like, hey, let's take it to the next level, and let's renew our vows every year in a different country. And then I was thinking, oh, well, our finances aren't quite in that great of order. So maybe we could do a different state or country. Yeah. And then that's what got it started. And then Evan, in his mind, is thinking, what? What were you thinking?
So she mentions that, yeah, because the seminar was all about dreaming big. So it was a whole thing of, yeah, we're going to unleash and dream big. And then I'm just like, whoa, not that big. Like, hang on. And I knew I didn't want to be the dream stealing husband. So I'm doing this on the outside. But on the inside, I'm freaking out because my bride is very gracious. I mean, we were masters of having more month than money. And we were at the stage where we're at the grocery store and we're the one holding up the line, having to put the groceries back. So it wasn't like, oh yeah, we just don't have it in the budget. Like my concern from that seminar was like, how am I going to get enough gas to get home? That's kind of where we were. But we knew in order for things to change, we had to change, which is why we were at that seminar. So I'm doing this on the outside, freaking out on the inside. And I'm like, I remember my first mentor that I heard on a pirated cassette tape by the name of Jim Rohn. And he said, you can find a way or you can find an excuse. And that stuck with me. And I was like, all right, I cannot let my new bride down. We were maybe 6 months in. Yeah, we're about 6 months in. Still trying to figure out, like, it'll be 20 years to pay off the honeymoon. But like, okay, I'm gonna figure this thing out. And so I'm like, okay. So I harken back to my surfing skills. And back then it was safe. And we would go to Tijuana all the time, going surfing and going through. So I'm like, that's it. Our first wedding can be in Tijuana,
which is
wedding destination capital of the world.
Yeah. It's only a couple hours drive from where we live now.
So I'm like, okay. So I got 6 months, Lou, to save up enough gas to get to Tijuana. And then I'm like, okay, I had $5 in the budget for a little sundress that we buy there, of course. And I'm like, okay, we can find this little old church and maybe do something. That was as far as I could get. But I'm like, hey, it qualifies. It's in a different country. So while I'm planning, Lou, this epic destination to make every Ivy Leaguer green with envy, okay, we end up, there's a long story, but we ended up winning a all expense paid trip to Paris, France for 2 weeks.
Wow.
We're talking 4 and 5 star, like the full thing, like tour guide, professional tour, the whole thing. And on our exact anniversary date, 1 year to our anniversary date, we were at the Palace of Versailles.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, okay, God, you're up to something. Because my mind is like, Tijuana, yeah. And God's like, no. Let me show you what 700,000 square feet looks like. Gold trim and mirrors. And it was like, so we had an amazing private ceremony at Versailles. And it was spectacular. And right then I was like, okay, we're on to something. Like, let's keep this train going. Mm-hmm. And of course, I discovered, the more fun and exciting the weddings are, the better the honeymoons are. And I always tell men out there, why would you settle for just one honeymoon, guys? Like, come on.
So what I love about this, and now we're going to hit a little bit of the fast forward button. Usually in the show, I go to the rewind button, but I want to go to the fast forward button because obviously not only certain things changed. Obviously, your own business ventures have changed over the years. You have grown a family over the years. You have 2 very good-looking children, which you can see. For the record, if you've ever received a holiday card from the Moneys, you need glasses because they give a full update per kid, and you got to read every one of them, what they did throughout the whole year. And I'm like, oh my God, I need a magnifying glass to learn what everyone did. Kids, them, Evan, Susan, whatever. It's all awesome stuff. Life has changed. Things have grown. Houses have gotten bigger. And the one thing that has continued to stay the same is that you continue on this journey. We are now up to how many weddings, Susan?
We have completed 31.
31.
Yes.
Just off the top of your head, can you share with the listeners some of the places that you've had some of these weddings?
Well, we've gone to all the states we can drive to from California because it took us a while to get past the budget a little bit.
Yeah, quick ADD note here. We're not the hardcore drivers. Like, we're not the campers. We're not that. So it's a...
we're not road trippers.
Yeah, we're not road trippers. So we were only willing to drive so far.
So we've done all of the western states in the whole United States. We've done a number of East Coast states, from New York to Florida. We have done Canada, France, England, 3 states in Mexico, because there's 31 states in Mexico. So that gives us lots of opportunities.
Dubai.
Oh, Dubai.
I was going to say a very large building. I've seen pictures and some very funky outfits as well in the Burj
Alaska.
Khalifa. Yeah.
Bahamas. We've done the
Yeah.
Bahamas.
Yeah.
So we do have a website. It's evanlovessusan.com. And so we've started losing track of all the places and numbers. So you are welcome to check that out, evanlovessusan.com.
Now we'll get to a plug section here. Here's what I want.
Oh, well, that was just so people could see.
Yes.
where
We will. Oh, trust me, we will show them there. We'll show them the light. We'll get them there. Here's the thing that is pretty impressive. By the way, they were on national morning shows being featured on their incredible journey of all these marriages. Their love is real, and you guys continue to work it. And of course, in the spirit of dreaming big, we'll get to this in the plug section. Evan, we'll save where you want to head, where this is heading. It's not just getting married every year. There's a bigger number in store.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about my hair dream.
No. We're not going to talk about hair. Evan and I are follically challenged, and this is the most hair I've had on my head in quite some time. But what I want to get at is that there's one thing to work on a marriage, and there's one thing to put the joy in there. But somewhere in there, you realized not only do you have something special in getting married and all this stuff and renewing all of these things, but you've learned things along the way and you wanted to help teach people. So let's flip the script here. What's the biggest problem that you think couples today have who've been married for a long time? Something that you see often, maybe in the people you approach. Is there a problem that sticks out more than others?
Oh, yeah, for sure. My bride and I have come up with a fun name for it, but it's really, it's at an epidemic proportion, Lou. And it carries over to other parts of life, but especially in marriage. And we call it the if-then cycle. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like this. Well, if she would just be more responsive in the bedroom and this and this and this, then I would be a better husband. Or if she would just support me more, if she would just fill in the blank, if she would just, right? And then the same thing. Well, if he would just, pick up his stuff around the house, or if he would if he would just engage with the kids more, if he would just get off his phone, or if he would just, put down fantasy football, whatever. It's always that if-then cycle and what ends up happening is you degrade into what we call a stage or level 1 marriage, which is where you're two parked cars that aren't starting because you're waiting for the other one. Well, as soon as she, it looks like this. Well, as soon as she, and so that just literally sucks the life out of marriage. And most couples are in it so much they don't even recognize it anymore. Mm-hmm. And it just becomes this doom loop spiral that steals the joy slowly but surely and sucks it all out of a marriage.
Anything you want to add to that, Susan? Other things that you see?
That and clear communication too. Like people just being afraid to share their feelings or, just to say, hey, you know what, when you said that, that really hurt me. Is there a way that we could say that differently? Or we have something we call the reset button where it's like if one of us has said something inappropriate or like teased, but it wasn't meant to be a tease or whatever, we had negative response to that in some way, then we say boop and we hit the reset button and we leave the room, we come back in and we do like a take 2. Yeah. And then we do it in a way that we communicate, we convey what we wanted to say in a way that is honoring and not inhibiting the other person from benefiting in some way. So yeah, that happens still just yesterday.
Well, and this is the good point, and this is the question I have. Should marriage be easy, or should it require work and investment in each other? What do you think?
Do you want to answer that?
I'll let you go first.
Well, yeah, anything worth having demands some work. I mean, if you want the benefits of it, you're going to have to put in some effort, right? That's like logical to me. It's like, well, if I want him to treat me differently, then I need to tell him how I feel when he's treating me that way. And then I need to treat him differently because I can only change me, my actions and my attitudes. And so I can't keep trying to change him. But I would hope that I can change my actions and he would see that and it would be reflected and he'd be like, oh, well, she's stepping it up a little bit. I think I need to man up a little and step up too, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lou, I'll put it, I'll reframe it this way is, and well, because you can shit all over yourself and that doesn't really get you anywhere. But the truth is, it's not about is a marriage work or not. It's really about intentionality. And so if you look at it, and again, you and I, Lou, sports guys, so warning, sports analogy. Okay, so where the town I live in, they pay the NBA basketball players, the top guys, make $50 million a year. Now you can't live off that, but it's a good story, right? So, especially if you're living in New York, or in LA. So you're getting $50 million to play basketball, and the Laker facility is, a lot of people don't know this. The training facility is very near LAX airport, and it's actually on the same street in the same area as the Kings facility, and so. It's pretty cool. They have these giant facilities. They let the public in. You can do stuff there. And then, again, the Lake facility is fantastic. So you can literally go and watch the Lakers practice. Okay. And if you'll notice, you show up for practice, it's very unremarkable. And you're watching guys that some are making $50 million a year, some are making $20 million a year, some are making $5 million a year. And you're watching them shoot free throws. And you're like, I would have thought if they're paying you $50 million a year, you would have figured this out by now. But it's just the intentionality of saying, hey, if I don't constantly shoot free throws, when it's crunch time in the game, I'm going to miss. And so it's like that with a marriage. It's not like, oh, this is too much hard work. This is this. I mean, again, sports analogy, right? You look at these young players, they're rookies. They're running up on the court 20, all day, every day, eating junk food, partying, and everything's great. A couple of years go by, and it's like, whoa, if they don't get intentional about taking care of their body, Kobe would always talk about, right? I can't believe the crap I used to eat or how I used to train, right? Getting intentional about, hey, I'm going to put in a little more effort here on the free throws. I'm going to put a little more effort here, over here. Just being that intentionality. Too many couples are in this stage, Lou, where they think like, okay, the marriage is a mess. Now I'll go work on my free throws. It's like, how about you do prehab instead of rehab? What if you're just always shooting free throws so you're always fresh and it's not that big of a deal? I've never seen an NBA player come home and go, oh, man, I'm so tired from my free throws. Like, oh, it's just like, hey, let's just, hit a few. And so it becomes a lifestyle, Lou, of intentionality, a lifestyle of prehab versus rehab. Saying, hey, how can we create things on the front end like the reset button so we never get to a state where I'm slamming doors or yelling or saying things I don't want to say or screaming, like all this stuff, right? So it's just that mindset. So again, it's not about work because most people, work is like, sometimes you stay away from that. But intentionality, oh yeah, I can be intentional. Oh yeah, I can do that. For free throws, yeah, I like free throws. Okay, yeah, let's go do that. So that's kind of how we look at it.
I love the good to great analogy for marriages for and I want to use the sports analogy because I think it's a good one. The statistics are crazy in America. I believe almost half of marriages don't make it. They end in divorce. And there's another stat that the other 25% of those that do make it are not happy in their marriages.
Yeah.
And I think that in those that are copacetic or happy, but there should be a bigger goal. And there should be the goal like a Kobe or a LeBron or that type of goal where they always want to work on bettering and upping their game. And I think what you guys are putting together is you're not only doing it with your own marriages, but you're helping other people to do it as well. Susan, when it comes to this stuff, do you think, I mean, look, you guys are amazing. They're the cute, for listeners, I've been following these guys for several years. It's awesome what they do. They really genuinely love each other. Have you ever seen other couples be like, how can I be more like you? Or is there a little bit of jealousy? Have you seen that amongst your friends or peers? Like, are they for real? Or do they pull you aside and go, come on, you can't be this good all the time. Tell me, do you get that kind of that?
In church, we usually sit in the same spot. And so Evan's physical touch, that's his love language. So whenever we're sitting somewhere, and I take advantage of that, and I'm like, I give him love on his head, I rub his neck or something. And so we're sitting in church and I do that. It's what I've been doing for over 2 decades, right? And so I've had people we've met people at church and they're like, oh yeah, you're the honeymooning couple sitting in the front row touching each other all the time. And it's like,
and you're like, yes, we are.
Yeah. So we are known for being the honeymoon couple. And it's like, oh yeah, that's just Evan and Susan. They're like that all the time. But I don't know, it's very rare that somebody says, you know what's your secret? So that's one of the other reasons that we're doing this is so that we can not guard our secrets. We absolutely don't want to guard it. We want people to have what we have. That's what my dream is, that across the United States and the world, that people would have as happy a marriage as we do. And it's like, I wish more people would ask. So that's one of the reasons we're doing the podcast too.
Oh, I love it. A great segue. Look, she's become a pro. Evan and I have been doing pods for a while, and we could read each other's mind. I can only imagine there. But this is a great segue here. Let's talk about this. We've got a new program out there called the Marriage of Greatness podcast. Evan, give us a little intro as to what this is about and what the two of you are going to be covering.
Yeah, the pre-story, Lou, is this was a lot of challenge for my bride and I, because we have a heart for everybody and we don't want to exclude anybody, Lou. So we're like, oh my gosh, so let's help you. And then we finally got peace, realizing, you know what? There's not a whole lot of people that want to go from good to great. And we discovered it's normally the growth-minded individuals. And so we said, you know what? We finally got peace about, okay, that's our market. And if other people want to sneak in, that's okay. But really, if you're the kind of person that is growth-minded, and if you're the kind of person that wants to grow from good to great, that's what that epic book of like, hey, why does that only apply to sports and business, right? So in business, or again, the great book, Good to Great, yeah. Or in sports, right? The greatness of LeBron, the greatness of Kobe. And again, I'm an LA guy, right? And it's been a long time since the New York Knicks had anything great to talk about. But
we're not
too long. We don't have to.
I'm sorry. But you hear that again all the time. Sports, business. I'm like, why can't we talk about that in marriage? Why can't we bring a marriage of greatness to the awareness, to the zeitgeist of like, hey, there are other people that are like, hey, we're the happiest couple we know. How do we stay that way and not get sucked down into the muck and the mire of the world? And, and again, it takes a little intentionality. And that's what my bride want to do, is provide that intentionality, have couples walk with us, share our skills and tools, and understand, again, it's coming from the growth mindset, and we're getting away from the victim mentality and saying, hey, at the end of the day, and Lou, you talked about our houses, and we appreciate that, but to this day, the biggest room in our house is the room for my improvement. Yeah. And so once couples understand that, of like, man, I have 5 lifetimes worth of work on that room in my house. And so I don't have time, energy, or effort to focus on what she is or isn't doing. And so we find the folks that are really excited about growing in themselves. And the other cool thing, Lou, is it carries over to other parts of life too. Because when your marriage is thriving, Zig Ziglar said it the best, Lou, one of our favorite guys, right? It's called the home court advantage for a reason. And so I'm stepping out of the house with a pep in my step. I'm stepping out like, hey, Evan, how can you have so much energy? Well, that's because I've got amazing marital bliss all the time. And so it carries over to business. It carries over to other relationships. It carries over to your health. It carries over to finances. So it's kind of the fountain of youth, and the secret treasure chest really comes into this growth-minded marriage and greatness concept.
Love it. Before I get to the plug section here, Susan, are you enjoying being behind the microphone? Because Evan's been practicing having a yip with me on a sports podcast, which is unrelated to any of this stuff, although we do talk about passions of other types, of our frustrations or excitement or whatever it might be. But how's it been talking and getting your voice out there in this program?
Well, I have to just keep focusing on my goal. My goal is for other people to have as great a marriage, if not better, than what we have. That's always my goal. So that's what I really have to focus on, because getting on the mic or getting in front of the camera is not where I feel 100% most comfortable, but I'm willing to do what Evan asks me to do and to help support him in this. And again, to get out and just focus on helping other people to have what we have.
Like it.
So,
yeah, full transparency, my bride was surprised because we've done other little video things, and we had again, during this moment of clarity of like, hey, it's okay to focus on growth-minded couples, my bride looked at me and was like, I much prefer just talking in the microphone and not doing video. And when we sat down for here, she's like, oh, we're on camera. I thought it was just the microphone. Like, what's going on? So my bride really thrives and really enjoys, and that's why we're going both feet in, Lou, of more of kind of like we're doing here, not a here's what you need to do, task list, all this, but just my bride and I having a great discussion.
Yeah.
And at the end of each podcast for my bride and I, it's just we build more intimacy.
Yeah.
We build a deeper connection. And it's basically just turn a microphone on like we do on our walks when we talk and have our walks. And so it's just it helps us as well, Lou.
Therapy for us.
Yeah, because it's focused on the calendar time of her and I get to connect for a half hour and share in a conversation. And that has been really fun. But I give my bride kudos and credit for being comfortable, being uncomfortable, because this is not her first calling. Can't wait to get in front of the microphone and all this. But she's coming along, and this is part and parcel of, well, it was your idea to get remarried every year, and look at where it brought us. So.
Hey, all I know is, listen, I listen to a lot of programming, and obviously I've gotten to know your content pretty well. Susan, you're kicking butt. You're doing great. It's awesome stuff. It's really good.
Thank you.
So I just think you guys need to like take your microphones on that walk, because that could be a fun, we're on the road episode, and we're literally on the road. I think it could work.
That comedy show where the guy's in the car interviewing people?
Oh, Jerry Seinfeld does the in the car with coffee and cars with comedians or something like that. Yeah. That's fun. I love that one. I said he did like, I think he did President Obama one time on like the White House lawn or something like that. They like drove around. It's pretty cool. All right, we're going to go down Fun Street here. We're going to do the plug section. Let's do that right now. Share with the listeners the websites, the social handles. If you know where they are, whatever it is, we will put it in the show notes, but it always comes better when they hear it and see it from you. Go.
Yes.
Evan, where can they find all this?
I'll let my bride plug second. I'll go first. So the first website is marriageofgreatness.com, and that's clean, simple, easy. And then I'll let my bride share the second one. And the caveat with our second website is that is a place where you can see me with hair.
Yeah, so I mentioned it earlier, but evanlovessusan.com. It was actually a website that Evan set up about 10 years ago because people were asking us about, where did you go and when? And so he made this website and gave it to me for Valentine's Day.
Awesome.
So it's got a counter on there and everything, but it's really cool. And you can see Evan with hair, yes. And the first, 10 or so pictures are kind of grainy and not like, we didn't even think about photographers or have the money for photographers earlier. So some of the initial pictures on the website are old school, I guess.
Yes,
old school. I think it's real retro. I think it works. I just want to let you know. Okay.
Yes, just a reminder for the younger listeners, right? There were no cell phone cameras back
then. These things didn't exist.
Oh, we'll take a picture like that.
The pagers don't take pictures.
Yeah, no one ever did a Polaroid selfie, right?
There's some amazing statistic that that like when you think about all the pictures that were taken before digital photography, however many there were millions in the world. But now there's like millions every hour. Like think about it, pictures are taken, or maybe even multiple millions every hour, like constant snap. It's kind of crazy how we've spiked up and everything's being captured, or video. That's why we're here in video, because we got to even capture this podcast on video. Are the two dynamic duos, Evan and Susan Money, the two components of the Marriage of Greatness podcast, ready for Fun Street on Thrive Loud?
We're ready.
Yes.
Okay. We're only asking this first question to Susan because we've asked Evan this question in the past. Susan, is there a favorite movie that you love or love to rewatch? One that maybe when it's on, that's one of your favorite movies that resonates with you?
Yes, I do. At least once or twice a year, I watch The Holiday with Kate Winslet and Jack Black. I don't know.
That's with the cross, the LA London conversation connection.
They do the house swap, and it just brings me joy. And Evan is such a wonderful supporting husband. He will sit and watch it with me. He's like, okay, it's that time of year again.
Yes. And just so the crowd, again, full transparency, my bride has a convalescent ministry. So she is drawn like a magnet to old people. And so you have that old guy component in the show where she helps him out. Like she stops the car. That's my bride. If you want to see what it's like to be Susan Money, she is Kate Winslet in that thing. She's the one that stops the car. Oh, this person needs help. Oh, this. I'm like, how'd you even know that? I'm like, focus on where we're going and who we're going to. And she'll just, again, and we went to Disneyland, just fun story. Went to Disneyland last week. And, we're all excited. It's just her and I, right? No kids, right? We flipped the script. like we're the ones sending the pictures to the kids. Look how much fun we're having. But we're trying to get in, right? And we went from one park to the other park. And there's, like 10 different styles, to enter into. And of course, I'm like, where's the shortest line? And my bride like drags me, let's go here. And the lady that checked us in literally was like 90 years old. And I was like, okay. And she's, hi, honey. And I'm just like, this is my bride. She's just drawn to old people. And so that's the key for that film. And so now I love it. I go along with it. And every time it's brand new, and we appreciate it.
So I've seen the movie several times. Susan, there is one part of the movie that drives me crazy. Jack Black, when he gets reconnected to his girlfriend that he's broken up with, who wants to get back together, he gets up and leaves her, but leaves Kate Winslet behind. We have to have this conversation. Every time I see it, I go, it's Kate Winslet, you idiots. What are you doing? Where are you going? Drives me crazy. Are you kidding?
Eating sushi and sake all by herself.
I mean, you're leaving literally the woman who's, out on the whatever. It drives me crazy. That's the one part of the movie that's like, that would never happen. But I just want to anyway. Okay. Now we're going to do what's the speed round. I'm going to ask you both questions. We're going to play like a little bit of a typewriter. I'll ask Evan, then Susan, then Evan, and vice versa. These are things that come to your mind, make you laugh, make you cry, make you happy. These are things that make you thrive. Are you ready? Okay. Evan,
yes, but Evan just pointed out that you said like a typewriter.
Yeah. Oh, yes, because I'm old and I could use a typewriter back and forth. I'm allowed to say that. And if people want to go look it up, they could go check it out on their very digital phone, what a typewriter is. They could also look up what QWERTY means. Anyway, okay. So with that, I'll start with Evan. Evan, of late, is there a song that you love to listen to or one that pumps you up?
Oh, yes. I would say as of late, it's fun because my daughter got her phone, driver's license, and a job all in the same week.
Yeah, first phone, driver's license, and a full, part-time job.
So we got the Spotify family plan, and so I have my daughter's playlist, and we would listen to our daughter's songs. So she would be like the curator. So she's turned me on to some obscure ones, but I'll just do a fun one. There is I think he may be well known, but Ed Sheeran. Some people may have heard of Ed.
We're pretty familiar with him. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a few Ed Sheeran songs. They're like, this is actually a good song. Play that Ed Sheeran song again. So, Dancing with My Eyes Closed, I think, is one of his newer ones, but that was a fun one.
Okay.
Same question to you, Susan.
Not new, but always gets me going is any of the songs from The Greatest Showman soundtrack.
Yeah, I knew I liked Your Wife. Yeah, it's awesome. We've had that a bunch of times, and From Now On might be one of my favorites from that. There's lots of ones. There's always the one,
they just get my blood pumping, and we take turns when we're in the car listening to Spotify, and it's like, okay, we pass the phone around. Whose turn is it? And so I go to either Whitney Houston or The Greatest Showman, and the kids are moaning in the background, not again. Or Footloose, of course. That's
Footloose, we can't go wrong. Okay, so back to you, Susan. A favorite food that is not a dessert.
Ooh.
Lasagna.
Evan, favorite.
Even though we're gluten-free, but...
My thing is basically anything that's deep fried. So at Disneyland, I had the pièce de résistance. I ate the Monte Cristo sandwich. I took the ham out, but it's deep fried
grilled cheese. I mean, you can't go wrong.
It's basically grilled fried French toast with cheese and turkey, and it was spectacular. So I eat that about once a quarter. Food like that once a quarter. So
yeah.
All right, Evan, what's your favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert, literally, because my bride and I were super clean eaters. So most, you go out, you 5-star, 3-star, whatever, all these Michelin stars, whatever. It's usually way too much sugar. So my bride makes the most awesome bean brownies.
Oh,
that are insane.
Waiting for that face.
Yes, because I love dark chocolate.
I like
bean brownies. Like, how could this taste good? But beans, dates, dark chocolate.
Oh, I'm in.
Cacao powder, and spectacular.
You come to California, I'll make them.
I like that. So, what is your favorite dessert, Susan?
I've recently discovered affogato, which is a scoop of gelato with a shot of espresso poured over it. That's just like the best of both worlds for me.
I like it. Susan, an activity you wish you did more of?
Oh. Go to Evan. I'm thinking.
Okay. Evan, An activity you wish you did more of.
Pickleball. I'm at
Pickleball.
stage 5 pickleball. Hooked. Love it.
I just played this morning, by the way. I woke up early
Oh,
to play.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm changing my workout routines. I've discovered new hip stretches. I am all in. Yeah, I'm all watching the pros play and just excited to master the game. And I'm playing with my son, so that's always super fun. And I get my brat out on the court every once in a while. So
Okay,
Okay, my thing is roller skating. I've been roller skating since I was 15. I still have my original skates I bought with babysitting money
wow.
way back when.
So skating, but not blading, right? Like, so your wheels
roller
are
skating,
roller skates. Old school.
Yeah.
roller derby, right? Like,
Yeah.
You got the stopper on the front on the
Yes,
toe
I
type
do.
thing. I know it.
I've
I know it well.
refurbished them a few times. I have a friend who we used to skate for probably about 10 or 12 miles, and halfway we stop and have lunch. And she recently moved to Idaho, so now I don't have anybody to skate with. So
You know what? You live in California. There's lots of places you can skate. I've seen it. I know it happens. People will break it out. Susan, an activity you wish you did less of?
arguing with my kids over stupid stuff.
They're young. They need. How old are they? What are their ages
20.
today?
Son is 20 and our daughter's 17.
Yeah.
And we've homeschooled the whole way, and our daughter is a senior this year.
Wow, great. Evan, an activity you wish you did less of?
Oh, yes. I would love to do less fighting over my limitations with myself.
I like that. Evan, an activity you've recently tried, not pickleball, activity you've recently tried that you like so much you want to tell everybody else to try.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I'll go this route. I thought you were going to say an activity I tried that I know that I don't want to be doing again. No. We did I did hardcore horseback riding a couple days ago, and it was like, whoa, okay, this is
but
cool.
Not that. You're not recommending that one, okay?
Yeah, not enough hip work for me yet to enjoy that. But you know what? I'll say we discovered the value. I'm just about ready to get one, Lou. Oh my gosh, a cold plunge or cryotherapy. So I've done the gas, and that's like, but there's something about the cold water. And when we're we usually go out of the country once a year for Thanksgiving. We have our special resort, and they have the jacuzzi and the cold tub right next to each other for the contrast. But man, the cold tub after pickleball, Lou, I'm telling you, makes
it's a good
you
ice down.
Man. It's like, woo!
Susan, same question.
I'm going to say listening to audiobooks. I love people reading to me, especially with British or Irish accents. And
My wife has it for South African accents. That's her thing. She loves it. So she hears that accent. She goes, you must be from Cape Town or something like that. She'll know. Yeah.
Yeah, I have Siri on my phone set for an Australian woman's voice. So
I totally get it. It's aesthetically pleasing. Get it? Australian instead of aesthetically pleasing. Okay.
But it doesn't work the other way, Lou. Like, no one in England, like, oh, I can't wait to hear somebody with an American accent. Like,
I saw a comedian make the funny thing, like all the singers who were from like the UK and the UK invasion, they would all sing like they sound like they're American, but we never did it back to them. So this comedian did this whole thing where he picked a guitar and he started singing in a British accent like that. And it just doesn't sound as good. All right. So second to last question for you guys. Susan, if I could snap my fingers and you could be anywhere in the world, where would it be?
South Africa.
Okay. Evan, same question.
Wow. Snap of the fingers. Well, we're planning a trip to Uganda and Turkey this year. So I enjoy being there. The whole travel part in between is, regardless of, whether it's Lou, your private jet that you let us borrow or whatever.
I wish.
Just the whole travel side. So I would like to, do the Star Trek, right? Like, beam me to Turkey. Got it. Yes. And then part 2 is if you could snap your fingers, I would love to be on a yacht on a calm lake with warm water because I get seasick. So I would love to take Jerry Jones's yacht, transport it to a nice warm lake, and just enjoy that.
So since you guys are all about going from good to great, here's the last question, and I have a feeling it might be a joint answer here. And if it's not, if they're separate answers, you can both opine here. You've been married 31 times. And listeners, you will hear this in the plug section, or if you listen to the opening of their podcast. They are aiming to have 100 weddings by the time they are 100 or something like that. Is that correct?
Yes. By the time Evan turns 100, we want to hit 100 weddings.
Which is amazing and unbelievable, and under the limit of taking it to the next level, that's what they're doing. But instead of, I don't want to ruin anything in the forward or spoiler alerts of places you're going to go. What I do want to ask is, in the spirit of good to great, of the previous weddings you've done, the 31 that you've done in the past, which was the one that was not so great, but there was like a silver lining in it? So maybe there must have been one, like, because you've been to some amazing places, and then, I'm sure they're all great because you guys are a wonderful couple and it's great, but there must have been one like, well, that was a little bit of a dud. So which was the dud and what was the upside, the glass half full version of it?
No, we both agree. So I don't know if it was 2 or 3. We couldn't find the rule book on getting remarried every year, so we're making it up as we go. And the silver lining too of this was it got us to take responsibility for what we were doing. Because before it was like, okay, well, we need to get someone to do our vows, and we lined up a pastor who's semi-famous in this niche, and we were at this event, and he was going to go do it at the fountain, actually it was in Portland, Oregon. At the Portland Arena, they have a cool little fountain there, and we were like at this event, and we're like, oh, it'll be so cool, and he's going to come off stage, and then he's going to, marry us, it's going to be so fun, and da-da-da. And something happened, and he canceled. Someone else needed some help or whatever, and it was like, hey, sorry, can't do your wedding. And we're like,
okay.
What happens now? So we just moped the rest of the trip, tail between our legs like a wet dog, right? And we got to the airport in Portland. And my bride, to her credit, she's like, we cannot let this moment go to waste. Like, we're here.
We're in another state.
Let's do this. And I'm like, what do you mean let's? Like, we're victims here. And she's like, no. Like, look, let's go in the corner of the airport, renew our vows right now. And I'm like, okay. And from that day forward, we were like, okay, we're taking full responsibility for this. And that also led to us discovering, Lou, super cool, is that our favorite way to get married is to have friends marry us now. And we have the friends write the vows. And so now they're invested, they're connected. And we've had friends tell me, like guys tell me, man, I'm getting so motivated doing your vows. Like, I see all these areas I need to step up in my marriage, and I'm so excited. And then people that have married us, we're always connected in such a intimate way, because it's like, dude, you married me, or hey girl, you married me one time. And we have one of our best friend couples, they both have married us. One married us in Alaska, one married us in the UK. Amazing. And so it's like, now we can look at this couple and go, both of you have married us. And they counted, they're like, okay, we've been part of like 5 of your weddings now. And so that train wreck really ended up pushing it to like, hey, let's take full responsibility, and then really getting us to take ownership. So in the moment, not glad it happened, but it got me out of wet dog mopiness into taking action.
It just showed us that we could do it ourselves. There were no rules. You can do it however you want, whatever brings you joy, whatever you feel you need to say, to encourage, to share your love. That's it.
I'll share my
Thrive Loud listeners, you're getting it full here. The Marriage of Greatness podcast here by true examples of what Marriage of Greatness represents. I look forward, hey, if it hasn't been on the list, if it's Miami or Boca Raton, I'm telling you, you guys come here, I will gladly do the vows and have the most fun. We will record it live, and then we'll really have cameras and stuff like that. I think we should do then 100. I think that's what we should do. When Marriage of Greatness podcast, it's a milestone episode. I'm telling you, this guest host will volunteer to guest run the whatever it is. If you want me to do it, I will gladly do it. Or we'll find someone else to do it. I'll coach it. That's my offer.
Lou, I'll take that offer. I would just ask that we can go to your next door neighbor and go to Jordan's house. And
he keeps thinking I live next to Michael Jordan. I don't live next to Michael Jordan. He's for a different town. Susan, Evan, Money, thank you so much for coming on Thrive Loud. Truly an honor to have you both here. Continue doing what you're doing, and we'll tell everybody where they can go find Marriage of Greatness podcast, everything in the notes. Everyone will see it. You guys rock. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
Lou, this was fantastic. So appreciate you. Appreciate the whole TLP Productions, and appreciate you for what you're creating in the world, Lou, of Thriving Loud. Like anybody could have been like, all right, I've done 1,000 episodes or whatever, I'm good. But you're continuing to bring it into the marketplace, and that is what is so sorely needed today. So I just want to champion Lou Diamond for bringing greatness through Thrive Loud. So thank you for having us, Lou.
To all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.